play, we the big spark. No fourth and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers. Go.
Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it, they spread. I'll be great one day.
And now, Mike's thoughts.
In the land of football, in the land of the New York Football Giants, to be exact, we should call them the New Jersey Giants, the simple fact of the matter is they have not been good for a very, very long time. Even when they do win the Super Bowl, they are a 9-10 win team. They have never been, quote, that dominant team throughout the regular season of the NFL. And I don't think at any time in the next near future, they're going to be a dominant team. So when we talk about the New York Giants today, just understand that in the end, they're a bad team. In the end, they're never going to dominate anybody. In the end, they have let everybody that could potentially lead them to the playoffs walk in free agency, trade them, whatever. So when we speak about the New York Football Giants today, keep an open mind. Keep an open mind to the fact that we're probably going to dog them a lot. Keep an open mind at the fact that we're going to dog them next year. Keep in mind that we're going to dog them even the year beyond that. The New York Giants are just not a good football team, guys. Admit it. Woo! Just admit it. They're not a good football team. And when we break them down today, when we talk about them, I'm going to surprise you. I might surprise you guys actually quite a bit. Maybe, just maybe, I am on this New York Football Giants bandwagon. Maybe, just maybe, I want to see them do good. Maybe, just maybe, they aren't as bad as we thought they are. Who knows, who knows, who knows. But cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Yeah, hey, let's go. Hitting that gridiron, we going hard, we running the plays. You know the vibe, only the strong survive. Gotta keep your head in the game. Talking NFL, uncut, straight raw, steady bringing that sauce. We about to take off, get it hype. This man, our sport talk. Yeah, from the quarterback to the lineman, everybody bringing heat. You don't really wanna try them. Hey, who gon' win? It's a battle of the Giants. This show is the flyest, nobody can deny it. This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? Let's go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here with the Man Hour, short of manhourradio.com. Check out the merchandise page, check out the blog section as well. But most importantly, if you like talking your shit and you don't like getting banned from Facebook, click on that forums button at manhour.co, manhourradio.com. There's a forums button. You can get rid of the forums and you can talk all the shit that you want. You can talk about my mama, you can talk about your mama, you can talk about a little bit of this and a little bit about that. But the only censorship is me. And I got some thick ass skin, so you're gonna take a lot to get a ban from our forums. But with that being said, guys, this is Man Hour NFL Talk. We are live every Monday through Friday, 2:30 East Coast time, right here at Facebook.com and of course YouTube.com as well. But most importantly, guys, if you guys miss any part of the show whatsoever, we upload clips every 3 hours. Noon, 3, 6, 9, midnight, 3, 6, 9. The cycle goes on and on and on. We update clips every 3 hours. Also, we have a podcast out there. This live show that you guys are watching right here, right now, is up on podcast pretty much almost as about an hour after this show is over. I edited it a little bit. I trimmed down the intro, put it in MP3 form, bada bing, bada boom. It's out there on Spotify and the old iTunes and interwebs in general. But most importantly, guys, right here, right now, click on the subscribe button. Click on the subscribe button, like the feed that you're listening to, and of course, share with a couple friends, because sharing is caring at the end of the day. As we carry on our NFC East week breakdown, we've already done the Dallas Cowboys, and today we're doing the New York Football Giants. Wednesday is the Washington Commanders, and Thursday we're going to talk about the infamous Philadelphia Eagles. Let's welcome the man, the myth, the legend, the COO of Pigskin Pundit, John Pebbles is in the chat. What is up, John? Good morning. We had a nice little Pigskin Pundit stream before, I don't know, 12:30 today, whatever it was. It was just out there shooting the shit. That's sometimes what we do. I showed you guys a picture of my Snoop Dogg over there. Now, I don't partake in that kind of thing, but Snoop Dogg does, and we had my son's birthday. The theme was nothing but a G thing, but we put G instead of 3 because he turned 3, ain't nothing but a 3 thing. We got a poster of Snoop Dogg, and bada bing, bada boom. It's up there. It's a good time. You guys get to interact with me. I get to interact with you. We get to know each other more, and we enjoy talking shit to each other because that's what friends do, and that's what Pigskin Pundits are, guys. We are friends, we are family, and all of the above. But we got to talk about the New York Football Giants. The New York Football Giants are a team that's kind of a head scratcher this season, right? They have a potential to be pretty good. Potential. If all their draft picks pan out, if Daniel Jones comes back and does a shell of himself, they could potentially be pretty good. But let's flash back to 2023 before we get too carried away. They did finish the season 6-11. Daniel Jones goes down week 6 with the ACL injury. Insert Tommy DeVito toward the end of the season, kind of got them on a hot streak, you can say. He won 4 games for them, with ultimately getting benched toward the end of the season after a bad loss versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And they ended up finishing the season 6-11. With a season with very much promise, it's just they shit the bed yet again. The Giants. We talked about Jets being the Jets jetting and the Raiders raidering. The Giants seem to giant every season. Along with this offseason, they lost a couple key parts of their team. Saquon Barkley. I said a couple. The biggest key was Saquon Barkley. They did let him walk in free agency this season. He ultimately signed with the rival Philadelphia Eagles, and we're going to talk about how big of loss that actually is for them coming up here on the Way or No Way of segment number 1 of today's show here on this Tuesday edition of Man Hour NFL Talk. But this year in the draft, many people were speculating that the New York Giants were going to draft a quarterback. They were going to move up. They were going to draft a quarterback. Daniel Jones was going to be replaced. It was going to be this. It was going to be that. They ultimately ended up taking Malik Nabers from LSU, a very talented wide receiver. I think is going to fit in very, very well there in New York. And then they decided to strengthen their defense a little bit. They signed Tyler Nublin, safety from Minnesota, in the second round. They drafted Andrew Phillips from Kentucky, the Kentucky Wildcats. Jim, right there. Kentucky Wildcats. Livet in the third round. And they drafted a tight end by the name of Theo Johnson from the Penn State. The Nittany Lions. This Theo Johnson, I kind of like this guy a lot. I've watched a lot of film on him, and he doesn't necessarily jump out at you saying he is going to be one of the greatest tight ends ever, but judging by his interviews, talking with some people that have played against him, Zen, right? This guy is a workhorse. He works hard. He studies hard. He puts in the work day after day after day. He has the potential to be one of the best tight ends in the NFL. Not this year, not next year, but once he gets his feet under him, gains that body up, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Look out for the name Theo Johnson, guys. I want you guys to put that out there. Theo Johnson, 4th round draft pick from Penn State, the tight end. I think he is going to do very, very well. John says, like we're talking like G-Men. John also says that Tommy DeVito will start this season. And that's exactly where I want to go right off the bat. Obviously, guys, we know that Daniel Jones went down week 6 with that ACL injury. But let's not forget, just a couple years ago, Daniel Jones did lead Brian Daboll to Coach of the Year. Daniel Jones had a great season. Saquon Barkley was out, I think, 90% of that season. They battled through adversity all season long. I think that same year I think they made the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. But insert the next year, Daniel Jones gets that big deal, 4-year, $160 million deal. Ends up going down week 6 with a torn ACL. The biggest thing about this contract is after this season, Daniel Jones has no more guaranteed money. And correct me if I'm wrong, it is only a $30 million cap hit if he is released or they make a move before the 2024 deadline. So only $30 million cap hit in this year. So we got to ask this question, guys. Way or no way does Daniel Jones bounce back from a horrible 2023 campaign? When I say horrible, in those 6 games that he did play, he had a QBR of 36.3, 2 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. He tore his ACL week 9, by the way. I'm sorry, I misspoke. 2 touchdowns to 6 interceptions with an abysmal 36.3 QBR. Anything is a bounce back like at this point. As long as Daniel Jones is just an average of what Daniel Jones normally does when in his career, it will be a bounce back. I mean, let's just look at the 2022 season, right? He threw for 3,200 yards, 15 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. 2021, he threw for 2,400 yards, 10 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. 2020, 3,000 yards, 11 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. Obviously, guys, Daniel Jones has to bounce back. This is a make or break season for the whole New York Giants franchise. From Daniel Jones to Brian Daboll to whoever the general manager is, the whole team, the whole organization has to bounce back. 6-11, 7-10 is not going to cut it. They have to be a 9-win team for Daniel Jones to probably be on this team next season. So with that being said, do I think Daniel Jones has a bounce back season? I think Daniel Jones will have another one of his average seasons. He'll throw for 3,200 yards. I take that back. He'll throw right around 3,000 yards, maybe 15 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. He's going to be a middle of the pack, just good enough quarterback to maybe skin by for the next season. So we got to ask that question, guys. Do you think he will bounce back in this 2024 NFL season? Does he bounce back and have a good season? I'm going to say he does bounce back. I think he does have one of his average seasons. Losing Saquon Barkley is going to hurt. And that's just the next question. That is the next question. How big a loss of Saquon Barkley is to the New York Football Giants? Obviously, guys, Saquon Barkley has been the heart and soul of the New York Giants running game for last 4 or 5 seasons, right? Granted, he has been hurt. Granted, when he is not in there, the team doesn't click. But when he is in there, the team does click. And I'd rather have you on the field than off the field. I'm going to take a lesser of a running back that can give me 17 games versus a running back that's only going to be there for 9, 10, 11 games a season. So with that being said, how big a loss is Saquon? Saquon is a huge loss for the New York Football Giants. Saquon is probably the one piece that they could not afford to lose this offseason. Let's just be flat out honest. I know everything that I just said. I'd rather have 17 games versus 10. But Saquon Barkley did play a full season last year. Saquon Barkley may have potentially got past that injury hurdle that he was suffering in New York. A year off, finally had a chance to fully heal, fully repair himself, and finally be the man, the myth, the legend that we all think that Saquon Barkley is. Think about this, guys. Saquon Barkley's rushing yards last season. 80% of in between the tackle rushes, he had a guy on him the minute he had the ball in his hands. So Daniel Jones or Tommy DeVito says downset hike, hands the ball off to Saquon up the middle. There's a linebacker. There's a nose guard. There's something in the middle. Only 15% of those plays, Saquon Barkley lost yardage. So he's getting the ball 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage. There's a guy in his face within 2 yards of him, and 85% of the time, he's gaining yardage. 0 to plus yardage on that. That is a huge, huge loss. Will Devin Singletary be able to do that? Probably not. And I don't see anywhere where the New York Giants line got better. The New York Giants statistically had the worst offensive line in the league that last season. This year, per PFF, they are ranked 30th. So not only do you lose the threat of Saquon, not only do you lose of him not losing yardage when he has a guy in his face, you lose the ability to keep guys honest, right? The one thing that was helpful for Daniel Jones and the New York Giants last season was when the Saquon was started to go off, Saquon started to get his yardage, bring 7, 8, 9 guys into the box. You have single coverage on the outside. You add Saquon with Daniel Jones versus Malik Neighbors. The Giants could have probably been a 10-win team. This season, they would have probably been pretty good. They would have been decent. But Saquon Barkley instantly knocks them back down. Knocks them to a very, very, very bad team. John thinks Daniel Jones is going to throw for 2,800 yards, 13 tutties, and 3 interceptions. Probably about right. Probably about right. Mark D is in the chat. What's up, Mark? We had Mark on last week, guys, talking about the Denver Broncos. He is from the NFL Experts podcast. Be sure to go check them out on Facebook and, of course, YouTube as well. Get those numbers up for them. Give them a like. Give them a subscribe. Whatever you got to do, make it happen. Thank you, Mark, as always, for joining us. But as we talk about the New York Football Giants, we've talked about how Daniel Jones has to have a bounce-back season. We've talked about how Saquon Barkley is a huge loss for them. Let's talk about how hot the seat is for Brian Daboll this season. Brian Daboll is 2 years removed from Coach of the Year. Think about that. In 2022, Brian Daboll was the NFL Coach of the Year. Now we're talking about being on the hot seat. Now we're talking about being a coach that's probably on his way out, no matter what happens. After a 6-11 campaign in 2023, after the fumbling of Saquon Barkley, whether it's him or not, in 2022 they did finish the season 9-7-1 with the playoff win. I get it. But guys, how hot of seat is Brian Daboll in right now? How hot under the collar is Brian Daboll right now? I believe it was James yesterday said that Brian Daboll is probably going to get fired from the New York Giants. Sean McDermott is going to get fired from the Buffalo Bills, and Brian Daboll is going to go back to Buffalo. Guys, the truth of the matter is, if Brian Daboll does not make 8-9 wins this season, shows improvement this season, I think he is out. I think he's out. I think they have to have a winning record, 9 to 10 wins. I said 8, but let me cant that and put 9 or 10. They have to have 9 or 10 wins for him to have a job in 2025 with the New York Football Giants. I'm not saying he is not a good coach. I'm not saying that the New York Giants will ever be a dominant team, like I said in the opening rant. They will never be a 13, 14, 15 win team. Look at the history. The Giants are always just good enough to make it into the playoffs, and then somehow they make a run, right? 2022, they beat the Vikings at Minnesota. After being 9-7-1, I think they had to win the last game of the season to get into the playoffs. It was, but either way, he has to win. He is on the hot seat. Guys, let me know. What do you guys think? What does Brian Daboll have to do this season, 2024 NFL season, to keep his job? To have a job with the New York Football Giants in 2025, what does he have to do this season? John said he's getting sunburnt in that seat. Getting sunburnt. Mark says the Giants dump their coaches every 2 to 3 years. And I guess recently you could say that because Jason Garrett was only there for 3 years, I guess. Brian Daboll, this is his 3rd year. But before that, they had Old Man, in which my wife loves. Forgot his name. Man, what was the coach's name? Going to drive me nuts now. You guys know who I'm referring to. He coached for the Giants for many, many years. Ended up going to the Panthers, I do believe, for a season or two. But he was there for the longest time. So, Mark, to say they dumped the coaches every 2 years, yes, the last 2 coaches they have, but the previous coach was there for a very long time. Tom Coughlin. Thank you, John. Tom Coughlin. He seemed to be there for a very, very long time. Derek Wilkinson's in the chat. What's up, Derek? He says the Giants have to make the playoffs for Brian Daboll to keep his job. And I think the NFC is going to be very convoluted, very packed around that 11-10-9 win thing there. But Derek, I think you are correct. I think 9-10 wins keeps him his job. But let's say he doesn't get into the playoffs, but he gets the 9 wins. Is his job safe there? I don't know. John's thinking that the Giants go 3-14 this season. We'll definitely be talking about it here very, very shortly. He also thinks they have to go 500 for them to keep the job. 8-1 is a must. Casey Morgan's in the chat. What's up, Casey? He says, I don't think Giants will come close to an Eli Super Bowl caliber for a long, long time. And if you think about this, even when the Giants won the Super Bowl, they had to win like a week 17 game, plus some help to even get into the playoffs. Right? Was it the first year that they beat the New England Patriots, right? They had to beat the Patriots week 17. They ended up playing them in the Super Bowl and beat them again. It just, right? It just, the Giants have never been a dominant team. Like, I understand Giants fans want to say, oh, we're good. But you guys have never been dominant. You've never been good. Mark says, I'm talking in recent years. Okay, the last 5 years, they went through 2 coaches. But before that, Tom Coughlin there was for a very, very long time. John People says the most successful coach in Giants was Bill Parcells. And I challenge with Tom Coughlin with that, to be honest. Because did Bill Parcells ever win them a Super Bowl? So I actually just pulled up the list of... So I am 100% wrong, guys. I am 100% wrong on Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin hasn't coached for the Giants since 2015, and Mark D is spot on. Let me eat some crows. So 2015, Tom Coughlin, I believe, got fired, right? He did win 2 Super Bowls with the New York Giants in 2007 and 2011. But then since then, Mark D is spot on. Ben McAdoo, totally forgot about him. 1 season. Steve Spagnuolo, 1 season. He actually came in mid-season of Ben McAdoo's second year because he got fired mid-season, actually. Pat Shurmur, after that, there for 2 seasons. Joe Judge, there for 2 seasons. Brian Daboll, this is his 3rd season. So, Mark, I apologize. I'm eating some crow here now. I must have just blacked out from 2016 to freaking 2020. And old Jason Garrett was never a coach or a head coach there. He was just offensive coordinator. So, Mark D is right. In recent memory, the most recent years, 2015 and beyond, the longest tenure for the head coach for the New York Football Giants is Brian Daboll, going on his 3rd season. Ben McAdoo, 1.5 years. Steve Spagnuolo, 6 games, which he went 4-1. Pat Shurmur, I don't even remember Pat Shurmur at all. There for 2 seasons. Joe Judge, 2 seasons, which he has an asterisk by his name, so that means he was probably fired mid-season as well. Huh. Most successful was Bill Parcells. And John, you are right. 2 Super Bowls with them as well. AP Coach of the Year, Pro Football Weekly Coach of the Year, Sporting News Coach of the Year, UPI and NFC Coach of the Year. All in 1986. Great year for the New York Football Giants. James says, I'm here. Daboll gets fired, and he's the head coach of Buffalo Bills next season. Jim, I actually did just say that. Or James, I actually did just say that. I said, yep, you are absolutely right. Casey says this is his last season in New York. We'll see if it's his last season or not. I think we're all kind of in agreement. Brian Daboll, Daniel Jones, and the rest of the New York Giants franchise has to have a winning season for them to keep their jobs. They have to have a playoff berth. They have to have a successful season, not a dominant season, but a successful season. 9-8, 10-7 would be ideal. So let's see if they can do that. Let's see if they can actually do that and win some damn football games. Week number 1. They're starting out at home, taking on a team that is a true wild card in this year. When I say they're a true wild card, we don't know who is going to start quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings right now. Is it going to be J.J. McCarthy? Is it going to be, Sam Darnold? Is it going to be somebody off the street? We don't really know. The Minnesota Vikings have a lot of questions to be answered from now until September 9th. They have a lot of questions that need to be answered. But I think the Minnesota Vikings, no matter who they have at quarterback come week 1, they're too much for the New York Football Giants. The Giants are going to try the run ball with Devin Singletary. The line is going to get embarrassed. And then Daniel Jones is going to be forced to throw the ball 40, 50 times in a game. And we know that is not a recipe for success for Daniel Jones or the New York Giants at all. Every time they throw over 30 times, Daniel Jones loses. I'm just pulling that stat out of my butt. But I think the Vikings win week 1. I think the Vikings are just too powerful. JJ's out to prove that he's worth that money. If Sam Darnold starts, he is playing with the chip on his shoulder all season long. He doesn't want to be a backup quarterback anymore. He's been to Carolina. He's been to San Francisco. He wants a starting job back, and he wants to be the man, the myth, the legend. And I think he shows that week 1. And John thinks different. John thinks the G-Men win week 1. I disagree. Give us a week 2 matchup. A division foe. New York Giants travel to Washington, D.C. to take on rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. Speaking of a lot of questions, the Washington Commanders have a lot of questions. That's why I'm very eager to discuss Washington Commanders with Michael Burlew tomorrow, right here on Man Hour at 2:30 East Coast time. We're having him on talking about his Washington Commanders. There's a lot of questions about the Washington Commanders. New ownership, new coach. They've let go some of the studs that were on their roster, right? Chase Young, Marquez Sweat last season. Halfway through the season before the trade deadline, they let those guys get traded. And I think Jayden Daniels is just going to put this team on his back, and he's going to carry them. I think the Washington Commanders beat the New York Giants week 2, and it's an ugly, ugly game. It might be one of the worst football games we've seen all season long. It's an ugly game. But unfortunately, the Commanders come on top. And John thinks that the G-Men start 2-0 on the season. He's like, it doesn't matter. Give me the Vikings, give me the Cowboys, give me the Commanders. Giants all day, baby. I'm starting 0-2. Week 3 doesn't get any easier. Back on the road. Traveling to Cleveland, Ohio to take on Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. We have spoke about the Cleveland Browns many, many times. I've spoken very, very highly of them every time I speak about them. The defense is good. The receiving core is probably one of the best in the NFL. I'm going to release my top receiving cores probably later this week, Thursday. Deshaun Watson finally looking like a healthy Deshaun Watson. Too much Cleveland Browns, too early in the season, fresh, not injured. Browns probably rout the Giants 7-0. It's just going to be an ugly, ugly game. Starting off the season 0-3. Many people are starting to talk. Brian Daboll, is he going to get fired? Is Daniel Jones the answer? Is Devin Singletary the answer? What do we need to do? Malik Neighbors. bust, right? Something's got to happen. John has Cleveland winning this game 28-10. Give us the week 4 matchup. Thursday night football in New Jersey in MetLife Stadium. The Dallas Cowboys come to town. Last time the Dallas Cowboys came to MetLife Stadium on a Thursday night football game, they played the Jets. They beat the Jets. Not the Giants. I get it, but still MetLife Stadium, and the Dallas Cowboys are very, very good at MetLife Stadium. And guess what? The Dallas Cowboys win this game. The Dallas Cowboys put some respect on their name. They flex on them. Give the Giants an 0-4 start. A rough start to the 2024 campaign. A rough start to the Daniel Jones bounce back season. A rough start to the we must make the playoffs for Brian Daboll keeps the job. Keeps the job. Week number 5. Giants travel out to the West Coast to play Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks. Nothing's going right for the New York Giants right now. They look lost. They look flustered. People are talking about Daniel Jones doesn't have it. He should have never got paid. They should have kept Saquon. Devil Singletary, he just doing bad. Malik Neighbors is going to be a bust. It goes on and on and on, nonstop. But week 5 comes along. Week 5 comes along, and the Giants finally put a complete game together. The Giants finally look like a really good football team at this particular point. Let me rephrase. They're not a good football team, but they look like a decent football team. They're putting in long drives. They're having defensive stands. They're having special teams kind of be the spark that they need. Brian Daboll starting to look like a decent coach. Coach of the year 2022, 2024. Come my way, baby. I think the Giants lose this game, but it is a very competitive game. The Giants are putting up some offensive points. Their defense is playing well. It's a 21-17 tie type of score. And they put up enough points to win the game, but they just don't quite have it yet, right? Thibodeau finally steps up and has a good game. And the Giants are like, hey, okay, maybe we're not so bad. Yes, we're 0-5, but maybe we're not so bad. Maybe we're not so bad. Let's go back to New York, or New Jersey, I should say, and let's put together a good game versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Week 6, they welcome Joe Burrow and the boys into town, and this game is a shocker to everyone. This game is not only a shocker to everyone, this game is like, what in the world are we witnessing right now? What just happened? What just happened was the New York Football Giants upset the Cincinnati Bengals week 6. Everything is in a line right now. Everything's looking good. They have played 2 good football games back to back. They lost to the Seahawks, but they beat the Cincinnati Bengals. One of the top teams in the AFC. The Bengals are a really good football team. They have a pretty solid defense. Their offense is going to probably struggle a little bit this season, losing Mix and Boyd. Week 6, they're still trying to figure themselves out, but they take the loss to the New York Giants. All of a sudden, Giants fans are starting to, hey, look at us. Look at us. Daniel Jones is looking like an average quarterback. Devin Singletary's running the ball well. Malik Neighbors maybe breaks 100 yards. Defense is playing well. I think they beat the Bengals. John says, no. Slow it down, baby. Cincinnati wins this game. Making the Giants 2-4 on the season. Well, right now I have them at 1-5. Giving us a week 7 matchup. A week 7 matchup that we've all been waiting on, baby. A week 7 matchup when Saquon Barkley and the Philadelphia Eagles come back to New York and looking for some revenge. This game is not going to even be close. As I do think the Philadelphia Eagles will take a couple steps back this season. This game is not one of the step backs. This game is a game when Saquon Barkley says, hold my beer. Matter of fact, hold my chicken as well and hold my shoes. Hold whatever you want because I am going all in for the New York Giants. Saquon Barkley might run untouched for 300 yards in this game. Saquon Barkley is going to run all over that New York Giants defense and want to stick it to the man over and over and over again. This game is not even close. This game is a 35-7, 35-10 score. Saquon Barkley scores 4 times for 180 yards. We could be talking about this game this time next season, and Saquon Barkley still might be rushing on the New York Giants on this game. They're going to give him the ball over and over and over again. And John tends to agree. John says Philly wins this game. Now has them 2-5 on the season. I have them 1-6 right now. Going into the Week 8 matchup versus another AFC North team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Travel to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to take on the Steelers. I believe this is a Monday Night Football game. How did this game get on Monday night? I don't know. But maybe the script says the Giants are supposed to get on a winning streak here. Maybe the script says the Giants are supposed to, win the final 9 games of their season and make a playoff berth. The Giants do bounce back in this game. The Giants do bounce back and put together another complete game. Their 3rd complete game of the season. They still lose this game because the Steelers' defense is just too much to handle. The offense is too much to handle, and Russell Wilson is just good enough. But the Giants play another complete game. They're playing a complete game, but they're still losing. Something's just not clicking for them. 1-7 on the year going into the Week 9 matchup. A Week 9 matchup that they've already played Commanders once this season, Week 2. The Commanders came in and embarrassed them. Not really embarrassed them, it was just an ugly game. But Week 9, the Commanders do embarrass the Giants. The Commanders do walk into MetLife Stadium, into New Jersey, Rutherford, New Jersey, and they embarrass Daniel Jones and the New York Giants. The Commanders might be just as bad as the Giants are at this particular part of the season, but the Commanders stick it to the Giants in this game. It is another ugly loss for Daniel Jones and the New York Giants. As quickly as that talk about Brian Daboll getting fired, about Daniel Jones getting benched, about how Devin Singletary can't carry the load, it's gotten that much louder. It's gotten that much louder. Now, this game is weird to me. This Week 10 game. This Week 10 game right now is weird to me. Because Week 11, we have a bye week. Right now, the noise in New York is very, very loud. I have them at 2-7 right now. 2-7. A bad New York Giants team gets beat by an even worse Carolina Panthers team week 10. It's bad. It's ugly. Nobody wants to be a part of the organization right now, giving us our bye week 11. We are hearing bench Daniel Jones. Brian Daboll gets fired week 11. I think Brian Daboll gets fired week 11. Having 2 wins on the season with your losses to the Vikings, Commanders, Browns, Cowboys, Seahawks, Eagles, and Steelers, and Panthers. The loss to the Panthers is the one that broke the camel's back. They do have a pretty rough first half of the season playing the Browns and the Cowboys and the Bengals and the Steelers, right? But the straw that broke the camel's back was the loss to the Carolina Panthers because it's just an embarrassing loss. Brian Daboll gets fired. Daniel Jones gets benched. Insert new coach, whoever it is, defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator. It doesn't matter. They changed everything. New quarterback, new head coach, new life, right? No. Same song, different verse. Week 12, Tampa Bay Buccaneers come into town to take on the Giants, and it's just another embarrassing loss. the Buccaneers come into New Jersey and beat down the Giants. The Giants cannot just get out of their own way at the particular point. Week 13, travel to Dallas. Second game for the new head coach. Second game for Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito, whoever the quarterback is. Name it, somebody. It doesn't matter. Dallas Cowboys, too much for them. 2 straight losses for the new coach. Hell, let's just make it 3. Derek Carr and the Saints come into like town. The Giants are just rough shape right now. The Giants are even trying to lose, and they can't even do that right? They're just a bad team right now. Saints come into town and win. James thinks the Bucs will beat the Giants. Of course they will. Baker Mayfield's the man, the myth, the legend. Week 15, though. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens come into town to take on Tommy DeVito and the New York Giants. This game kind of has me intrigued a little bit. This game has me intrigued because this is the part of the season where the Las Vegas Raiders last season got hot. Fired coach mid-season, insert AP, gets embarrassed his first 2-3 games as a intern NFL coach. Last 4 games of the season, they get hot. Win 3 of the last 4. Giants don't do that. The Giants don't do that. This is a closer game. 21-10, 28-10. But the simple fact of the matter is what James says. Ravens can look past the Giants. The Ravens can play their backups, and they're still going to beat the Giants, unfortunately. James thinks the Giants will win this game. I think opposite. Week 16. 2 wins on the season. Basically have to lose out to get the number 1 overall seed. They're trying to lose at this point. They're trying to basically get blown out. They're trying to save some face of the season. Like, hey, at least we got the first overall draft pick. And the trend continues. They travel to Atlanta. Kirk Cousins and the boys beats them down. Another loss. Week 17, Colts come into town. Guess what? That's another loss. Week 18, going to Philadelphia. This is going to be a 1 o'clock game. Nobody's going to watch it. They're going to battle 9-8, 9-7 type of score. They're trying to lose, and they can't even try to lose right because their defense is playing good, but the offense just sucks. But they lose this game, ultimately giving them a 2-15 record on the season. I think the New York Football Giants this year will go 2-15. 2-15. They fire Brian Daboll week 11, which is the bye week. Daniel Jones gets benched week 11, which is the bye week. Devin Singletary probably does not finish out the season as the starting running back. Look at whoever the backup is, or potentially picking up like Dalvin Cook or somebody off of the street. The Giants are just going to be a bad team this season. And ultimately because of karma. The karma of basically playing chicken with Saquon Barkley. And I think somebody asked if I watched the Hard Knocks. I saw the preview of them talking about who was going to offer Saquon any more money than us, yada, yada, yada. I think that ultimately comes back and bites him in the ass. I think ultimately Devin Singletary isn't able to carry the load. Tyron Tracy Jr., which is their 5th round draft pick, he can't carry the load. Eric Gray, don't even know who that is. Probably can't carry the load. He's a 5th round from last season from Oklahoma. No disrespect to Eric Gray, but I don't know who you are. The Giants are going to look to pull up Cook off the street, maybe make a trade for some other running. The Giants are going to be so messed up all season long. They don't know what to do. Giants are a bad team, and I don't know how much more clear I can make that. Don't know how much more clear I can make like how bad the Giants are going to be. We talked about bad teams so far. We've talked about the Patriots. They at least get six wins this season. We talked about the Broncos. They still get 5 wins. We've talked about the Raiders. I still think they get 4 wins. All pretty bad teams, lower tier 3 teams of the NFL. The Giants are by far the worst team in the NFL. The Giants are by far a 2-win team might be gracious for them. They might go 0-17. But that's just one man's opinions on the NFL Man Hour Talk, guys. We are live every Monday through Friday, 2:30 East Coast time right here at Facebook.com, of course, YouTube.com. Tomorrow we'll be talking the Washington Commanders, another bad football team. Says your ass, they're tier 3, says John, meaning the Raiders. Raiders might be tier 4. But we out.